right, what is just, what is fair, what do I need to do to pursue that version of what is right? And if we did that, there'd be no hunger, there'd be no conflict, there'd be no child abuse, there'd be no environmental abuse, there'd be none of this stuff. We'd be in a completely different level of consciousness, and therefore we'd be in a completely different level of experiences of this world. As Albert Einstein said, you cannot solve problems with the same level of consciousness that created them. And because we've got caught in body consciousness and not the high soul consciousness, if you like, that we really are, therefore we bring a political party in with a certain level of consciousness, and we replace it with another with the same level of consciousness. We interact with the world with the same level of consciousness, and then we wonder why the world never changes for the better, because the same level of consciousness that is creating the problems then returns to create more problems. We have to move into an expanded level of awareness of who we are, the nature of reality, the illusory nature of reality that we live in, and then we can have a paradise here, because illusions only control you when you think they're real, and that's the key to this conspiracy. It's been persuading people that this illusion that we're interacting with and we can have great fun and joy with is actually real, and once you buy that one, you're in body consciousness, and you're in the slammer. And we're at a time now with this awakening when we can open the door
David Icke,
and transform this world.
Got a break. Stay there, David Icke. We'll talk to you during the break. David, I don't want to turn this into a massive extravaganza.
No, but I tell you, you want to go into the dark stuff. I'll tell you about that.
Well, the thing is, I know that you've got a lot of things to do, but I would love, and I promise you we would end it then, and also give you a break later. What if we did 20 minutes into the next hour? The show normally ends in 30. But what if we did another, 40, 50 minutes total, 15, 20 minutes into the next hour, because then there'd be no breaks, and it would be internet only, but still massive, so that we would have plenty of time to really let you flesh out your ideas, and then take some phone calls and, talk about solutions. Or do you want to end this in T-minus 30 minutes?
I tell him my problem. I'd love to do it, Alex, but I've got to be in Nevada City in the time it takes from 1 o'clock to get there. That's my problem.
What time do you have to be in Nevada City?
I've got to be in Nevada City by just before 2 o'clock. I'm meeting a guy, funnily enough, he's a doctor who has understood that the body's a hologram, and there's great information waiting for me there.
Well, I hope you'll come back soon and tell us about that.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Well, then we'll talk a little bit more and then jam in some phone calls before you leave us, and I appreciate you giving us the 2 hours.
No problem. If you want to get into the dark stuff and the ritual, I talk about that because it so relates to what we talk about.
Well, I wanted to talk about the different levels of consciousness, because you talk about doing what is right. When I'm calm, when I'm centered, again, I'm not worried about them killing me. I realize fighting them and standing up to them, and my instinct or my guts, my spirit tells me, exactly. Even let them kill me. Because, that will only expose them greater, and that, but then, I hear a beeping going on. John, do you know what's going on there?
I don't hear anything.
Okay, it just went away. We got it here on the network side. David, you still there?
Yes, mate.
But then when I get back into battle mode, the daily mode, which is what I have to shift into to be able to operate.
Yeah.
I'm not as worried. I mean, I'm still a little bit worried about it. I'm just not completely at peace. And then you talk about, consciousness. The problem is the corrupt elite system is like a cancer.
Exactly.
And so no matter how many of us are good and sweet and loving and do the right thing, which I try to do every day, we still have to stamp out and stand up against corrupt people in our lives, or they will chew us to pieces. So I want you to explain.
I'm not saying lie down and say walk all over me. I'm saying the exact opposite.
But just don't stand up against them in a hateful way. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it from a point of love. And I'm sorry I have to do this.
Yep. Well, yeah, or even more than that, I am doing this, okay, end of story. And what getting to those higher states of consciousness does, it takes the fear out of it, it takes the consequences out of it, and you just do it.
They were going back to the full audience. Here we go. David Icke's our guest. We got about 27 minutes left with him today. I think I'm going to go ahead and myself, David can't stay with us, but I'm going to go into overdrive at Infowars.com for 20 minutes. You good to do that, Paul? Because I want to cover what's happening with the markets after David leaves us. But I do want to take some time out and take some calls before the show ends as well. But, David, during the break, when we were still talking for the Internet audience on PrisonPlanet.tv, we were discussing, I was saying, well, the elite are like a cancer, though. They understand this. They've decided to be dark and evil and to shutter the souls of humanity because it makes them more easily manageable. And they get and they revel in darkness, and I can't imagine having the knowledge of the wonders of being good and being loving and doing all that, and then making the conscious decision to be dark and wicked. So why are they doing that? And as good guys, how do we stand up against them? Well,
they are locked into such a depth of their own body consciousness that. That's why, and there's other connections to that, but they're so locked into that level of reality that's why they're so good at manipulating it, right? They're almost like soulless beings who have lost such contact with these higher levels of awareness that basically, if you look at the way they operate through intellect. They are very, very clever, but they have absolutely no wisdom, and cleverness without wisdom is the most destructive force on earth. So they're coming from an intellectual level, which is a body consciousness level, because the intellect thinks and works things out. It's not that higher knowing that we've talked about. And they're so stuck in it that they have lost touch with a key self-balancing mechanism, which is empathy. They have no empathy. And because they have no empathy, they have no emotional consequences for what they do to people. So 3,000 people on 9/11, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dead and maimed civilians in Iraq. We couldn't do that because we have empathy. We have this emotional feeling for the consequences for others of our actions. When you don't have them, there are no limits, and that's why they act like they do. And it's why I've been saying for years, if you see what they would do on the basis of what you would do, then you've lost the plot, because they're not the same because of what I've been talking about. And they are, I mean, I know I've had lots of ridicule, and also over the years I've had lots of ridicule over many things. I don't care what is, but, you know, these people interact on what like a human level with entities that operate just outside of visible light. You know, as I said right at the start of this chat today, I'm sitting here in California, and all the television and radio stations broadcasting in California are sharing the same space that I'm sharing. They're not on top of each other like a chest of drawers. They're sharing the same space because they're vibrating at different speeds. Now, when you get two stations that are very close to each other, there's close enough for interference, interference symbolic of interaction. And these entities that these people worship in their stupid, sick, and horrific rituals are to interact with these entities that operate just outside of visible light, just outside of human sight. And what these entities do is they feed off low vibrational human energy, which is fear, stress, all these different expressions of low vibrational energy. And this, Alex, is where the age-old term of sacrificing young virgins to the gods comes from. What are young virgins symbolic of in that term? Prepubescent children. I've understood this by talking to people who've taken part in these things overwhelmingly against their will. What these entities do is they are there at the ritual, and they put these children and other people too through horrific rituals, and they build them up to a state of absolute terror. And this is releasing this really low vibrational energy of terror, and it also puts an adrenaline in the bloodstream, which the human elite drink like a nectar. So when they do the sacrifice, the entity or entities that they're doing the ritual for, which have various names in different parts of the world, they absorb this energy like a energetic sustenance to them, while the human level of it, they drink the blood which has this adrenaline in, and this is one reason. There are many other reasons why